How to fix grainy hair in Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Welcome back to Teknobalta. Today, our team is tackling a frustrating visual issue in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, where hair and fur textures appear overly grainy or pixelated. We analyzed this exact error on high-end systems running advanced hardware, and we have compiled a definitive list of solutions to restore maximum visual fidelity. During our testing, we noticed this shimmering and grain effect heavily disrupts the visual experience during cutscenes. Even with a powerful setup utilizing top-tier hardware like an RTX 5060 Ti, Ryzen 5 9600X, and 32 GB of DDR5 RAM installed on an SSD, the visual noise around character models remains a persistent issue. Our team confirmed that this is often tied to how the game handles post-processing and upscaling algorithms. The very first step is to evaluate your Nvidia application presets, which has proven to be a primary solution for this artifacting. We found that applying the K, L, or M preset configurations within the software can drastically reduce the dithering effect on hair. These specific presets adjust the rendering pipeline to better handle fine details without introducing artificial grain. Next, we need to address the reality of anti-aliasing techniques running at resolutions below native 4K. Teknobalta's analysis confirmed the finding that no single anti-aliasing technique completely eliminates these micro-artifacts unless the game is rendering at full 4K resolution. Therefore, we will be combining several settings to mitigate the issue at lower output resolutions. You must initially verify that the in-game film grain setting is completely disabled. We confirmed that this post-processing effect artificially injects noise into the frame, which severely exacerbates the grainy look on character models. Navigate to the Visual Settings menu and slide the film grain value all the way down to 0. Our team then tested the impact of deep learning supersampling, commonly known as DLSS. While DLSS is fantastic for performance, lower quality presets like Performance or Ultra Performance introduce heavy visual artifacting on fine textures. We recommend switching your DLSS setting to Quality Mode to force the game to render hair with more base data. If DLSS quality still produces visual noise, the next logical step is to disable DLSS entirely and switch to DLAA. Deep Learning Anti-Aliasing uses the same AI algorithms, but processes the image at native resolution, completely eliminating the upscaling blur. We verified this fix drastically improves hair clarity, though it will have a heavier performance cost. For users not utilizing Nvidia hardware, you must test the Temporal Anti-Aliasing, or TA, implementation. While TAA can sometimes look slightly softer, it is highly effective at eliminating the jagged, grainy edges on complex geometry like fur. Toggle this setting on and inspect the character models in different lighting conditions to verify the improvement. Another critical factor we discovered involves the game's ray tracing implementation. We recommend temporarily turning off all ray tracing options to isolate the source of the visual noise. Ray-traced reflections and shadows can sometimes cause a dithering effect on hair when there are not enough rays cast per pixel. If disabling ray tracing clears the hair grain, you can re-enable it, but you must increase the ray tracing geometry detail to maximum. This forces the rendering engine to calculate lighting on hair strands much more accurately. Lower ray tracing settings compromise on fine details, leading to that exact pixelated look we are trying to fix. Dynamic Super Resolution, or DSR, is a highly effective workaround we discovered for lower resolution monitors. By entering the Nvidia control panel and enabling DSR factors, you can force the game to render at 4K internally and downscale to your screen. This brute force method bypasses the lower resolution anti-aliasing limitations entirely. While inside the Nvidia control panel, navigate to manage 3D settings and locate the anisotropic filtering option. We recommend changing this from application controlled to a forced 16x value. This ensures that textures viewed at oblique angles, like the layered hair models, retain their sharpness and structure. In-game sharpness sliders often conflict with upscaling technologies, creating severe digital noise. Our team found that lowering the in-game sharpness setting to below 30% prevents the engine from over-sharpening the hair edges. Over-sharpening is a major contributor to the shimmering effect you see during movement. We also need to disable motion blur and depth of field within the game's graphics menu. These cinematic effects apply a post-process blur that interacts very poorly with fine hair geometry, causing it to smear and artifact. Turning them off ensures a perfectly crisp image around the character's head. For advanced users, downloading the Nvidia Profile Inspector allows for deeper modification of driver-level settings. We found that setting a negative texture LOD bias can sometimes force higher quality assets to load at all distances. However, ensure you set the negative LOD bias to clamp to prevent further shimmering. You must also ensure that you are not running multiple conflicting overlay filters. If you use Nvidia Freestyle or third-party shading tools like Reshade, they might be applying artificial sharpening passes. We recommend disabling all external overlays to verify if the game's native hair rendering returns to normal. In the display settings, verify that your texture quality is set to the absolute maximum your graphics card memory allows. Hair and fur rely on high-resolution alpha textures, and dropping this setting causes the game to load heavily compressed, grainy alternatives. Always maximize this setting if you have 8 GB of video memory or more. Shadow map resolution is another setting that indirectly affects hair appearance. Low-resolution shadows cast jagged, blocky outlines across the character's face and head, which looks exactly like rendering grain. Push your shadow quality to high or very high to smooth out these specific lighting interactions. If you are using frame generation technologies, try disabling them to see if the artifacting stops. Frame generation sometimes struggles with chaotic, fine pixel elements like moving hair, creating visual noise in the generated frames. Turning this off will lower your frame rate, but may completely stabilize the. Check your Windows display settings to ensure HDR is properly calibrated if you are using an HDR monitor. Poor HDR calibration can cause the dark areas of hair to crush or artifact, emphasizing the grainy look. Use the Windows HDR calibration app to set your black levels correctly. Sometimes, enabling Windows hardware-accelerated GPU scheduling can resolve texture streaming hitches that cause visual bugs. Navigate to Windows graphics settings and toggle this feature on, then restart your PC. This allows your graphics card to manage its own memory, improving texture loading times for complex assets. If none of the game-specific settings resolve the visual noise, you must perform a clean installation of your graphics drivers as a primary maintenance step. We strongly advise using Display Driver Uninstaller in safe mode to wipe all existing driver files completely. Once cleaned, install the latest official drivers to ensure no corrupt profiles are causing the artifacting. As our final universal maintenance tip, it is crucial to verify your Windows operating system integrity. Open the command prompt as an administrator and type sfc/scanno to run the system file checker. This process will locate and automatically repair any corrupted core system files that might be interfering with your graphics API. Don't forget to follow Teknobalta for more.